Joining me live is Independent MP Zali Steggall. Thank you so much for joining us. What is it going to take, Zali?
Well, one does wonder, because when we look at the statistics this year, where 2024, we're already up by 30% in terms of murders, a woman on average about every 4 days, which is really dramatic. Now, if this was a terrorist death, or anything else, we would see dramatic action by the federal government. So it was frustrating. And I think I expressed the anger that many women and men feel around the country, that the government is still not acting with the urgency required. The announcements out of National Cabinet are an extension of an existing program. It is good, but at the end of the day, it's going to help some 37,000 women with up to $5,000. It's good, but it is not enough. It does not help keep women safe today, tomorrow, next week. We need to see some urgency from the government. I welcome the urgency the New South Wales government announced, and they promised a plan within the next couple of days, but we still are not seeing that at federal level.
What would you like to see?
I'd like to see a commitment to a sentencing review. We know all the police ministers came together as well, and they've committed to go away and look at what possible opportunities they might have to do things better. That is not a firm commitment. We need to look at our sentencing laws to ensure that we are stopping perpetrators on that journey and escalation of violence. We also need to reverse the onus. Perpetrators need to feel more consequences of the actions. Women and children, where it's possible, need to be able to stay in their homes with wraparound services to keep them safe. In New South Wales, it's a program called Staying Home, Leaving Violence. It has been proven to work really well, but it's not rolled out in every LGA. It's not fully funded. Many frontline services need more funding. So the call on the federal government and the Prime Minister is in the budget in 2 weeks' time when we go down to Parliament again. There needs to be funding in that budget for frontline services.
What are your thoughts about a Royal Commission?
Look, I think a Royal Commission is a very effective way of hearing from victim survivors. And I do think in this space there's much to be said for that. My concern is the delay and the time and the cost. We are in a situation of crisis where urgent action is needed, and the difficulty with the Royal Commission is it takes 1 to 2 years. And I simply could not support that delaying more urgent action whilst waiting for recommendations, because that means a significant more number of women killed. So I'm not convinced that is a priority right now, and that is a crisis response. We wouldn't call for a Royal Commission into contemplating what should we do about a terrorist attacks, for example. We would act with urgency.
And Zali, what do you think we can all do as a community?
Look, I think many people have been reaching out and talking about it. I think we need men to speak up. Women are tired and quite exhausted at this fight. We need men to take on that mantle and responsibility of calling out their mates when they see behaviour that is disrespectful, unacceptable, or they have concerns. They need to call it out, because at the end of the day, it is not all men, but it is overwhelmingly men at the moment that are responsible for that violence against women. And so all the good men out there need to really call out those bad apples. I think the more we have this conversation, the more it is on number one of the agenda. And I think, of course, continually putting pressure on all levels of government to do better.
And what about children? How much do we need to educate them? Do we need to bring more into the schools and get our teachers to educate them as well?
Look, I know the New South Wales government have discussed that with Rosie Batty. It's clear the long-term piece around this is the respect, right? It's a deterrence, a prevention, dealing with toxic masculinity, misogyny, and making sure we have respectful relationships, equal respectful relationships, and ensuring that people and children know and have assistance if, for example, something is happening at home that they are not comfortable with. Things like counsellors at schools can be very important to help children express maybe. But, it's the piece between the prevention and keeping people safe and the piece around education. Now, we know alcohol, gambling, pornography are major drivers of incidents of domestic violence. I mean, sporting events, after major sporting events, we see a rise in domestic violence case. So it really comes down to everyone to call that out and do something about it.
Zali Steggall, thank you so much for your time, and we'll talk to you again very soon.
Thank you.
And if this story has raised any concerns for you, you can contact the Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Helpline on 1800 RESPECT.